Rocky State, I'm good with baseball games.
You do?
And Chairman, I've been informed that we're online now with the sound.
I'll call us back to order at this time, and I do want to apologize to the public that has been trying to watch this morning. We did have an audio problem for a while that I understand is corrected now, and glad you have the interest in what we do here to join us, and hope we don't have any more problems this morning. But thank you. We are on item number 10 now, which is a public hearing and approval of a resolution concerning economic development, and I'll turn it over to Andy Hagley at this time. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Board. This is the notice for a public hearing and approval of a resolution for acquisition of property in the Middlesex Corporate Center. And if I may, pursuant to NC General Statute 158-7.1, notice is hereby given that the Nash County Board of Commissioners will hold a public hearing at or after 9 o'clock or as soon thereafter as it may be heard on July the 11th, 2022, in the Commissioner's Room on the third floor of the Claude Mayo Jr. Administration Building, 120 West Washington Street, Nashville, North Carolina. The purpose of the hearing will be to receive public input on the proposed appropriation of economic development funds for the purchase of approximately 40.409 acres as shown on the map recorded in Map Book 43 on page 384 from the Bobby Stanley, Exum Lewis, and others located at or near US 264 alternate in Middlesex, to be located within the Middlesex Corporate Center. It is the Nash County Board of Commissioners' intent to authorize the purchase of said property for the purpose of encouraging economic development in accordance with the terms of North Carolina General Statute 158-7.1. The board intends to authorize the purchase of the real property in accordance with the terms of the purchase contract for a sum of $464,600 or $11,500 per acre, which amount will be paid with Nash County Economic Development Funds. The purchase is subject to the declarations of covenants, conditions, and restrictions and easements for Middlesex Corporate Center, recorded in Book 2857, page 129, the Nash County Registry.
Anything else you want to say, Andy?
Just that a portion of this property has been spoken for, and we will be closing on that eventually.
Okay. If we get through the public hearing.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. All right, any questions on this item? We have discussed this before. It's a parcel in the Middlesex Industrial Park that we were able to pick up that originally the owners weren't interested in selling it at that time, but they are interested now. And as Andy said, we do have a purchaser for a portion of it already, which goes along with some of the land we already have where they needed a larger tract. But if you have any questions, I'm sure Andy will be glad to answer at this time. Any questions?
The last thing you said sale of it. Did you say soon, or did you not say when? I didn't catch what you said.
Oh, that's the portion that's spoken for?
Yeah.
Will, not assume, but will.
Okay.
Not going to be too long.
No.
Okay.
I was interested when I was reading all this last night. The Local Development Act, way back 1925, nothing been done about that since then. Yeah, I said,
But ain't broke, we don't need to fix it, Mr. Bellfield.
well, I wasn't even aware, because I know I wasn't even born then, but economic development, I didn't hear nothing about economic development by the counties way back
I think it's probably-
until the 60s.
Yep. I think
And
it-
so, but it must be a good one. There haven't been any changes.
must be.
There've been lots of changes. It's been amended a number of times.
I expect.
What was that?
It's been amended quite a few times.
Oh, it's been amended.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
All right, with no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the resolution at this time.
So moved.
Moved by
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Outlaw made the motion, Mr. Bellfield seconded the motion. I feel like I might be missing something. Did I miss anything?
Do we need a public hearing? Do we?
Yes, we do. That's what I'm missing. I felt like I didn't do something quite right.
And I move for a public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, I called for the wrong motion, is what I done. Actually, I need to call for a public hearing. I apologize for that. I have a motion to go into public hearing by Commissioner Outlaw, second by Commissioner Combs. Any questions on that proper motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Thank you, Andy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to speak for or against the consideration of the commissioners this time about purchasing this land, we'd be glad to have you come forward, state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing at this time.
I move we close the public hearing.
I move by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Bellfield. Questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Public hearing is now closed, and I entertain a motion to approve the resolution at this time.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Have a motion to approve the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bellfield. Questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries as well. Thank you all for getting me back on track. We'll move now to item number 11, which is the monthly tax report. I'll call on Doris Sumner for her presentation. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yes, the first thing I have is the monthly tax report. As you all know, this report is designed to keep the board current on activities in the tax department. The report is for your information only and does not require approval. It is recommended that you accept the report so that it can be noted in the minutes, and if there are any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
All right, any questions on the tax report for this month? Seeing none, it's noted for the record that you have got the tax report before us. We'll move to item number 12, which is tax refunds, if you have any, Ms. Sumner.
Yes, sir, I do. I have a request for a refund that we need approval on so that we may disperse those funds.
Any questions on the refund in your agenda today? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Combs. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Refund stand approved. Next item is number 13, which is revow vendor recommendation.
Yes, sir. At this time, I'd like to bring before the board a revaluation vendor recommendation. As you may remember or recall, last year, we were notified by the state that we had to advance our revaluation due to our sales ratio. And so based on the Department of Revenue laws for revaluation, Nash County must accelerate its normal 8-year revaluation to a 7-year revaluation to be effective January 1, 2024. Nash County received this notification in an announcement letter in April 2021, in which the county requested reconsideration from the Department of Revenue, but the acceleration was confirmed by letter dated May 2022. Due to the timeline, Nash County staff determined it to be in the best interest to review the proposal for services presented to county staff by Pioneer Appraisal in June and compare these to other North Carolina counties' contracts for revaluation services. Bid requirements for services, although recommended, are not required, and with the need to move forward, considering our time constraints, Nash County staff did its due diligence for reasonable cost and appraisal service evaluations by contacting other counties for comparative information based on cost per parcel and satisfaction of services. In addition, Pioneer Appraisal, they are an approved vendor by the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Based on this review, we recommend the board to consider approving the proposal for services from Pioneer Appraisal. The proposal for services is for $1,050,000. This contract reflects a turnkey job with an extensive focus on commercial property, also including residential property revaluation and appeals. The tax department staff will be keenly involved in monitoring the quality of the work, appeals, and learning the new schedule of values, the schedule of models. And I would be glad to answer any questions for you at this time.
First of all, Ms. Sumner, you said it, but I want to make sure the public understands that, which we're all used to, a 8-year reval cycle, and to my knowledge, I don't know that we've ever done anything different than that. We may have in many years back, but
Yeah.
certainly on my time it hadn't, but it is a requirement by the state Department of Revenue for us to do this, and not a selection by this Board of Commissioners to do the 7-year cycle. And basically, the reason we're doing the 7-year cycle is because the changes that have taken effect in that 7 years puts us at a spot where they are requiring us to do it a year early. I think we're probably fortunate we didn't have to do it 2 years earlier with what real estate has done in the last few years. But with that said, that is the reason we're moving to a 7-year cycle this time, and then my assumption would be we would go back to 8 years unless the state tells us different otherwise.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Any other questions from a board member on this item? I will say that this item bothered me to begin with, quite frankly, because of the amount of money we're spending, over $1 million to get this done without a competitive process of any kind. And I really hate to see the county do things of this nature using taxpayers' money. It's just, I've never particularly liked the piggyback contracts that we do, as all of you know, but sometimes it's proven that it is better to do this. But in this case, I did ask for quite a bit more information, particularly the contract that we had in 17, and looked at that extensively versus what we have this time. And in 17, we paid $821,000 to get it done, and this time we are being asked to approve a little over $1 million, which is about a 21% increase. But looking at the last 7 years and what has increased in those 7 years, particularly this is pretty much a employee-driven item. It's more payroll than anything else, as you can imagine, with the appraisers and all involved in it. But when I looked at the 21% and I compare it with our own workforce, who in the last 5 years, if my math is right, has received about the same amount of increase. We gave a total of 19, compound that, it equals pretty close to 21% in a 5-year period. And realizing that generally government employees increase in salaries lags private industries somewhat most of the time, I do come to realize that probably it's a real good price. And the other thing I was told by Ms. Sumner when I asked is we have the benefit of 2 former employees in the tax office, actually lead people in the tax office, Gene Roundtree and Jim Wren, that both apparently work for this company. I hope I'm right in that.
Well, Mr. Roundtree is with the company. Gene may be coming, but not sure yet.
Okay.
But we do have other tax administrators who are assessors from other counties that are with this company, and they are highly experienced and knowledgeable.
Yeah, I'm not saying they would be working on hours, but it
Yes,
does
sir.
tell me of the level of expertise that the company does have. And just consider it overall, and I make this a point because I really like to see us do competitive bids on everything we do, but in this case, it is, in my opinion, the right thing to do to move forward with it. And of course, the county has compared what other counties pay per parcel, and it's all based on the number of properties that we've got. So I am in favor of moving forward with it like it is, if that affects anyone's thought on it. But that said, any questions on those items, Ms. Leggett?
I just had a question about what the timeline would be for the reevaluation.
We have to start right now and be finishing up January 24.
Okay.
January 24.
Because we have to get appeals out, values out to the taxpayers, and so that they have an opportunity to appeal those values.
Okay.
Good point. I didn't realize it was quite that quick of a time, too. Another reason. Other questions?
This should be done by January 1. I thought that's what I read somewhere.
2024, yes, sir.
She's saying by January the 1st of 2024.
Yeah. when I read it, I looked at $1,050,000 and wondered if it could be done cheaper, but when you look at everything else, jumping like a grasshopper,
I would like to just make,
I said, well, maybe that's probably the best we can do. You did check with other.
yes, sir, I certainly did, and I just
Well,
like
if you've
to,
done all that, I'm satisfied then.
yeah. I was just going to say that one county that I spoke with, they had about 23,000 parcels, and they're anticipating spending $600,000. Another county had 45,500. They're going to be spending about $1,180,000. One with 33,000 parcels, they're going to be spending about $750,000. And one other county with about 45,000, $1.1 million.
And we have how many parcels?
We have 52,044 parcels.
Okay. All right, so I think the due diligence has been done. I'd entertain a motion for approval at this time.
Motion to
Move
approve.
approve.
Have a motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Bellfield. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Thank you for your work, Ms. Summer, on this.
Thank you so much. We got work to do now.
You do.
Thank you.
Thank you, good job.
All right, item number 14 is termed as a brunch bill, and I'll call on Susan Phelps at this time to make this presentation to the board, since it's getting close to brunch.
It is getting close to brunch. Good morning. On June 28, 2017, the North Carolina General Assembly passed Senate Bill 155, known as the Brunch Bill, which was then signed into law by Governor Cooper June 30, 2017. The Brunch Bill allows for the sale of alcohol beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays instead of 12 noon, subject to county approval. The request for adoption of this ordinance comes from Eastern Petroleum Corporation with 7 locations in the Rocky Mount, Nash County area. The ordinance would apply to county jurisdictional areas only. Municipalities have the authority to adopt their own ordinance. Both the City of Rocky Mount and the Town of Nashville adopted ordinances in favor of Senate Bill 155. Eastern Petroleum's request comes as their EP Mart store located on 130 North Old Carriage Road, Rocky Mount, in the county's jurisdiction, is at a competitive disadvantage from the national chain located across the street in Rocky Mounts. This national chain is located and able to sell alcohol before noon on Sundays. The EP Mart cannot. The ordinance will provide the other opportunities for county businesses within county jurisdiction for increased sales tax throughout the county. The request for Nash County to adopt this ordinance was originally brought before the board on July 8, 2019, and was denied at that time. We would like to request the Board of Commissioners approve and adopt the ordinance allowing the sale of alcohol beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays in accordance with SB 155, Article 4, and adopt the new ordinance to be applied to Nash County's Code of Ordinance, Chapter 8, Article 5. Attached, you also have the resolution that you would need to adopt for the ordinance, and I'd be happy to read that if you'd like.
Any questions first? Go ahead and read that resolution.
Okay. An ordinance to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages before noon on Sundays at licensed premises. Whereas on June 29, 2017, the North Carolina General Assembly enacted Senate Bill 155, entitled An Act to Make Various Changes to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission Laws, and whereas Section 4, ratified Senate Bill 155, authorizes city and county governments to adopt an ordinance to allow alcohol sales beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays. And whereas ratified Senate Bill 155 was signed into law by Governor Cooper on the 30th day of June 2017 and became effective on that date, Session Law 2017, Chapter 87. And whereas by enacting Senate Bill 155, North Carolina joins 47 other states in allowing alcohol service before noon on Sunday. And whereas Sunday morning alcohol service will allow the hospitality community and retail merchants in our county to meet the needs of their customers. And whereas Sunday morning alcohol service will benefit the county's small business community and generate increased tax revenues. And whereas our community has a diverse and growing population with different religious beliefs, each of which have various and multiple days of worship. Now therefore be it ordained, the Board of Commissioners, Nash County, North Carolina, that a new article of Nash County Code of Ordinances is hereby enacted as and read as follows. Chapter 8, Article 5, Section 1. Pursuant to the authority contained in General Statute 153A-145.7, the sale of malt beverages, unfortified wine, fortified wine, and mixed beverages is allowed in the unincorporated areas of Nash County beginning at 10 a.m. on Sunday pursuant to the licensed premises permit issued under GS 18B-1001. Section 2, this ordinance is effective this day of July 2022.
Any questions of Susan on this item? Thank you, ma'am. Entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Move for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Combs. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of that? Did you have a
I just
question?
wanted to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I know this is the second time this has come before us, and I voted against it then. I wish we didn't have any sales anywhere during that time of day when we normally refer to it as church service hours.
Yes, sir.
But we have it, but I don't agree with it.
Understood, sir. Understand
And
very
I
well.
just, I'm going to stay do the same vote like I did before.
Understood. Okay. Other comments from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
my personal opinion is that, no, I don't like alcohol sales on Sundays. But since I'm not here to push my personal agenda or my personal opinion, and the last three whereases in the ordinance really struck a chord here. And even though I may not like it personally, to give our businesses a chance and the other surrounding businesses in the city, yes, I would vote for it. Thank you.
All right. Other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Outlaw.
be very clear, I'm not a drinker. I don't bring alcohol into my homes. I've never promoted it with my children, my child, my grandchild. But this is not a decision I made based on that feeling. I made this decision based on the fact that it puts business at a distinct disadvantage to other businesses. And for that reason, I voted for it. And unless I misunderstand, if it does not have unanimous support today, then would it not come back next month and be voted on and pass, if it passes with a simple majority?
Only way it would pass today is to have a unanimous vote, and you're correct. If it doesn't have a unanimous vote, it will have to be brought back again, and then it would be a simple majority.
So I don't know if it'll be a simple majority today, but if it does, then it'll be back next month.
Correct.
So
Okay,
you just delayed the business a month.
right. Other comments?
Yes, sir, I've got a comment. I'm like Mr. Outlaw, I don't drink either, but it's just not fair to businesses outside in the county when you can come to Nashville and buy beer or wine or whatever at 10 o'clock, and you can also go into the city of Rocky Mount and do the same thing, and the areas outside can't sell it till 12 o'clock. We're just not treating them fair. I agree with Fred, that's church time, but the world's changed, and you can't treat some people different than you do others, and these businesses are suffering because of it. So why are we going to make the businesses in the county suffer when just go across to the city limits and you can buy all you want to?
Well,
It just don't make sense.
may I comment again?
Yes, sir, Mr. Belfield.
Well, one thing, the businesses that we're citing here up there, Old Carriage Road, they can request to be annexed into the city of Rocky Mount, and they wouldn't have no question.
Well, that would be
But
on.
I think our constituents would expect us to use sometime your own personal belief, as long as it's not hurting their freedom. I can't see myself voting for it, and I'm not a drinker, and on Sunday, even if I were traveling, I wouldn't be stopping getting alcohol or getting a drink of alcohol.
All right, just to clarify what you said, the location you spoke of is one of 7 that this particular business owns in the county. The other 6 may well not be in a position to be able to request annexation and be successful at it. I don't really know. I know several that would not, but.
Well, I know businesses and neighborhoods, I'll request the city to annex them in.
Sure.
So I can't see why they couldn't do the same.
Well, I do, well, you stated your opinion. I would hope that this board could approve it today unanimously, but if we don't, we'll just have to bring it back again and see how it goes the next time. But certainly, each individual commissioner needs to vote as they see fit to vote. Any other comments?
The last time this ordinance came before us, I voted to support it for the same reasons, that to support our local business community, and I will support this ordinance again this time.
To your point of asking to be annexed, I don't understand why any business would request to be annexed into the city, which means they got to start living by city regulations and paying city taxes. And some of them are way out in the country, and they don't have the convenience of being as close. You can't just cite this one situation. You know, there's convenience stores all over the county that are miles from a city or town.
Mr. Arrington?
Well, this is a business request that would pertain to all business in the county that sell alcoholic beverages, and it's not a religious decision, but more or less a business decision that asks they be treated the same as all our surrounding cities. And that's the comment that I have.
Okay, thank you. I hadn't said anything, but I do intend to support it, as for the same reason the other commissioners have stated. It is a business decision, and I think it is unfortunate that we have different rules for different businesses throughout our county, and this would be one step to help bring all those on a level playing field. Mr. Philby,
Mr. Chairman, I'm not anti-business. I support business, but this is just one phase of business, alcohol sale.
Understood.
And I support business in any way, but it's just, I just have a hard time. I didn't support when they, way back when the city was had a vote on blue law, right, to sell. And
if we keep talking, might you change your mind, or I need to go ahead and call?
Well, it hadn't been changed yet.
All right, fair enough. We have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign?
No.
Motion carries 6-1, and I would ask the staff to put it back on the agenda for the following month. We only have one meeting this month, so it would be come up again in August. Thank all of you for your comments, and certainly understand how each one of you feel. We'll move to item number 15, which is approval of an ambulance franchise fee, and I call on Dr. Strufy to make this presentation to the board. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. This is an annual visit of one of 2 required to do our annual approval of our franchise private ambulance agreements. So as you listed before you, Eastern Medical Transport, METS Medical Transport, and MEDEX Medical Transport have applied to provide non-emergency medical ambulance services to Nash County. I've reviewed all of those applications, spoke to all of those services, and at this time recommend the first of the two approvals for those three agencies to have a franchise in Nash County to provide non-emergency medical transportation.
Any questions of Mr. Strufy on this item? Got a couple of questions. Are either of these new ones that are being added, or have we had these same three before?
We are adding MEDEX Medical Transport, which is a new one. The other two did previously have franchise.
What I thought. Did you see any increased interest in it with us getting out of the transport business as the county agency itself? Or do you think that's what brought this on? And did we have any to look into it that did not make application for it?
Yes, sir. I received a total of 5 applications. And of that, reviewed through those and picked the ones that I believe were best suited to provide service to the county. I did not want to make a recommendation to the board to just open the doors to allow anybody to operate, because then it's very difficult to manage that and still maintain oversight of the quality of services being provided to the citizens. So.
And with us getting out of it, those three you think can provide that service to our citizens adequately?
Yes, sir. I believe it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Other questions? Seeing none, entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Bellfield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Combs. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next month.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll now move to item number 16. Item 16 is a personnel policy change, and I'll call on Mr. Kirkland at this time to make this presentation. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I'm just bringing to you a request to update the language in our Nash County Human Resources pay plan to reflect some of the changes that are associated with our recent classification study. Basically, it's the hiring salaries will begin at the minimum rate instead of a hiring rate, as was previously stated in our pay plan. And also, after the completion of successful probationary period, the employee's salary would remain the same. So we would remove language that would indicate an increase at the end of a probationary period. I think you were provided a copy of those changes. Okay.
We were. Yes, sir. Questions of Anderson on this item? Mr. Outlaw?
You go on, you had your
Go ahead,
hand up
Mr.
first.
Outlaw.
I just wonder if, would there be any situation where, because of a person's education and/or background experience, that you would hire them at something greater than the minimum rate?
We do have that built into our pay plan, and that it's where the county manager has some discretion over that, up to a 10%.
So this would not prohibit you from?
No, sir.
Okay.
No,
thank you.
it would not.
Mr. Bellfield?
Oh, yes, I was reading there about evaluations and disciplinary action, how the salary would be reduced 10% and can go up 5% and all. Explain that. It seemed like to me that's a little steep when in other words, you're reducing them to a lower position than what they have. And the salary would be reduced 10%, 5%, 3%. It said demotion. If the demotion is voluntary or the results of disciplinary action, the salary shall be decreased 5% for the first grade that is lower, and 3% for each additional grade that is lower, and a minimum of 15%. Salary shall be no greater than the maximum of the new range. So the person can get demoted. That means they're going back into another grade level.
Correct, with less responsibility.
Well, I don't know, when I was reading it last night, it seemed to me that that's a little stiff. Now, if the person requested, for whatever reason, I see nothing wrong with putting them in the classification, salary range in the classification, but they may have quite a bit of experience above what classification they put in. So that's why I question those reductions, percentage reduction in salary.
And that's the norm. There's still some flexibility where there can be approval for a higher salary rather than following that progression, or regression, if you call it that.
Right, if we've got documentation and justification to do something different, then we do that.
Okay.
Other questions, commissioners? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Entertain a motion at this time for approval of this item.
Move for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilkins. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Just want to make sure I understand, I didn't want to affect the vote, Stacy, but we did have a hiring range where we would hire them below minimum, work the probation, and then they would get the raise to minimum, and now we've eliminated that step. Is that what we're doing?
Right, we've eliminated,
Probationary step.
right. So now they're being hired at the minimum, and when they complete their probationary period, there's not an increase. They're already at that rate.
Did they always start at a probationary period no matter what? Unless
Yes.
you changed it?
When we have a new hire, they have a 9-month probationary period.
Okay. And they had to be hired at that probationary rate unless you altered it?
Right, unless it was approved by the county manager, correct.
All right, so in effect, we have increased all of our starting pays, which is one of the items we were after.
Correct.
Okay, I got it now. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 17, which is final amending change order for Northern Nash Water System Project. Call on Mr. Boone this time. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Well, this moment in time has been about 3 years in the making. I would love to have been here much sooner, but glad to be here nonetheless. But the item you have in front of you is a final amending change order on the Northern Nash Water System Project. As outlined in the change order of the cover memo, you will see that as we adjust the contract for actual installed quantities, we'll be reducing the contract amount $359,736.49 to a revised amount of $6,066,300.86. And upon approval of the final amending change order, I will prepare the final payment request for ELJ, and we will be able to close this project out. Glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions of Mr. Boone on this? Seeing none, I'd just like to say I greatly appreciate your due diligence on this item. It has not been an easy item for your department to get closed out, I'm sure, with many circumstances that got involved in this water contract, even though at the end of the day, I think we got a great installation of water lines. I think what we have is certainly of great quality, and we all realize we got it at a very fair price based on the bids we got, even though there was some little bit of aggravation along the way, but I appreciate you and your staff's persistence in getting this thing brought to where we are today.
It was a team effort.
Yep, well, I'm sure it was. No other questions, I entertain.
Mr. Chairman. In other words, we approved too much in the beginning of the estimated change order. Do we need to approve this since it saves some money, or didn't have to use all of it?
What we do, Mr. Belfield, this was a unit price bid. They
Yeah.
priced all the items in there, and they were estimated quantities.
Yeah, I
And when you
understand
finish the
that.
contract, many items we went over on, many items we came under on, and you're always gonna do that on the unit price contract. And this is balancing of all the, many, probably 100 items on the contract, I don't remember how many. And this was the net effect of all that balancing act. And so, yes, we do need to approve it so the contract can be closed out. But in effect, we're spending this amount of money less what the contract was, but plus any change orders that we have previously approved. That answer your question, Mr. Boone, is that clear?
There's nothing I can add to that.
Okay. All right.
It answers, but I still don't see why we got to prove them.
Because we closed out.
Have we sent, did they have the money? They bill us up to a point, but we had the money.
They
here.
only bill us for units that are installed.
Mhm. Okay.
All right. I would entertain a motion for approval at this time.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Outlaw, second by Commissioner Arrington. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Mr. Boone, would you briefly inform us of the Northern Ash Water System and what new funds we have available for the public to know that we're moving forward with a major extension in that particular area of the county, extending what we weren't able to do under this contract?
Well, the thing I can advise, we anticipate an announcement towards the middle of this week regarding some additional funds that will be made available to the county. I'm hesitant to speak to an actual amount until that is approved. I don't want to jinx
I agree with you 100%. I did forget that it was
Thank you.
a couple of days in front of us to be approved. But we do.
we are anticipating a substantial award to help us greatly accelerate the work in the Northern Ash Water System District. In terms of the funds we do have available and have been committed to the project is the funds for Phase 1B, which would be the development of 2 groundwater supply wells and about 1.5 mile of water main to reach the second well on James Munn Road. And that money is about $1.5 million.
Correct.
But again, we anticipate a substantial award later this week.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Well, let's see, you do have the next item, number 18, contract with Oakey Collier Associates for architectural and contract construction administration services.
Yes, sir. I have 2 contracts for your consideration. One is a master agreement. The second is the first service order is a nomenclature that is used for a project to address some repairs over at the courthouse complex involving masonry, windows, and roofing. Specifically on the 1986 edition, that is a portion of the old courthouse complex that is closest to the new addition of the new courthouse that was constructed. We've got a number of items that need attention there. So the master agreement really addresses a multi-year, what I anticipate will be a multi-year project that we will take on as we have the funding to do so. But the first project is focused on that 1986 edition. So that is the subject of Service Order 1. You'll see that contract is the amount of $60,300. And again, that project will be focused on addressing some issues that we have with the masonry on the exterior of that building. We got a number of structural issues there that need attention. And then also the windows have not been maintained as well as we would have liked. And also the roofing is reaching the end of its useful life. So this is the first of what will be a series of projects that again anticipate we'll try to complete over the next 5-year period. With that said, I'll be glad to answer any additional questions you may have.
Questions of this item of Mr. Boone? Mr. Boone, do we have some money in the budget this year to do part of this work? I think we used some ARPA funds, or did I remember that wrong?
We have some funds that the commissioners appropriated in November of '21. There were some funds requested in the CIP for FY '23. That request was set aside for the time being, and I believe the manager's office and the finance office is looking at the possibility of bundling some projects together and going out for some debt to tackle this project, but there were no funds designated at FY '23 for this work.
But you have some funds we previously designated that we haven't spent.
Correct. We need a little more.
Okay, understood.
But we're going to work with what we have at the time being.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions? Entertain a motion for approval for this contract.
So moved.
Approved by Commissioner Wilkins, there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Arrington. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a light sign. Motion carries as well, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, number 19, is the ARPA compliance policy. I'll call on Patsy at this time to make this presentation. Good morning, ma'am.
And Chairman, I believe it's mistitled. This should be Urgent Repair Loan Program. The item that Patsy's going to be presenting is the Housing Urgent Repair Loan Program, correct, Patsy?
Yes, that's what it says on my paperwork.
Yeah.
Am I on the wrong item?
No, there's
Okay.
an error.
Okay, what is it exactly then?
Urgent Repair Loan Program,
Okay,
requesting approval of the program policies and authorizing execution of the administrative documents.
give me 1 second to move. All right, what commissioners have does actually say what you said, so we're good.
Okay.
Sorry about that, go ahead.
That's okay. The North Carolina Housing Finance Agency has awarded Nash County $132,000 under the 2022 cycle of the Urgent Repair Program, and this is funded through the North Carolina Housing Trust Fund. Nash County included a $5,000 match in its application for these funds, bringing the total project cost to $137,000. Goals of URP 22 are to alleviate housing conditions which pose an imminent threat to the life or safety of very low-income homeowners with special needs, and to provide accessibility modifications and other repairs necessary to prevent displacement of very low-income homeowners with special needs, such as the frail elderly and persons with disabilities. This program does not require that the entire home be brought up to usual rehabilitation standards, but it can be helpful in stabilizing deterioration. A URP 22 home must be occupied by someone with a special need and with a household income at or below 50% of the median household income. We have chosen to follow North Carolina's household incomes because they're a little bit higher than Nash County's are, and that's an option we have. Special needs households include those with an individual who is elderly, handicapped, or disabled, a military veteran, a single parent, a large family, or a household with a child with elevated blood lead levels. Household income cannot exceed $39,650 for a family of 4, and half of the households that we assist must not exceed $23,800 for a family of 4, using the North Carolina HUD median income limits. The maximum lifetime funding to repair a home with this program is $12,000. And each of the homes that we assist, there will be $1,000 in soft costs that is available to our consultant, and $1,000 in administrative costs that are available to our consultant. So the deferred forgiven loan, which is a promissory note, per home is forgiven at a rate of $3,000 per year. So as long as the people stay in the home, or their children, for instance, stay in the home after they pass, then they don't have to pay back this forgivable loan. URP 22 regulations require that policies be developed for procurement and disbursement, plus client assistance. So draft policies have been attached to your agenda item. They've been reviewed by the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency to ensure that Program 8 updates are included. And we have used similar policies successfully for a number of past URP programs. Per the grant application, we will be contracting with McDavid Associates for housing support costs and administration, and we will repair at least 10 homes, maybe 11 or 12, through the URP 22. Should say 22. Nash County is scheduled to take applications from September 12th through September 16th, following execution of a funding agreement with the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. So our recommended action is to approve the policies, subject to perhaps some specific amendments recommended by Housing Finance, and authorize the county manager or her designee to execute documents and reports for administering the URP 22 program. Do you have any questions?
Any questions, Commissioner, for Patsy on this item? All right, thank you, Patsy. Entertain a motion for approval then.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Bellfield, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilkins. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion stands approved. Next item is item number 11. Mr. McGee?
20.
Number 20.
Number 20, correct.
Okay. As we've done in several past years, we want to introduce to you, which you already probably have met her, our summer intern from Golden Leaf. In April, we contacted the Center for Creative Leadership and about again hosting a Golden Leaf scholarship intern for the summer. And we're excited that Kathy Nicholson rejoined us this year. She's a senior at UNCG. She's from Wilson, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself. But she's returned for the third internship at Nash County. She worked here during the 2 previous summers through the same program. She's housed in the 3rd floor library in the Nash County Administration Building, and this year she has assisted our department, Grants and Intergovernmental Relations, and she's doing fantastic work at Nash County. We're pleased to have this bright young scholar with us again this year, and I wanted to give Kathy a chance to address the board.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you.
You
Hello.
seem like you're been here for quite a while, so
Yes,
surprised you
sir.
still got an intern status, but that's wonderful. I'm glad you're still in school also.
Thank you. As Ms. McGee stated, I'm a senior, rising senior at UNCG Greensboro, or UNC Greensboro. I'm a public health major. This is my 3rd summer interning with Nash County, and I've enjoyed my time each time. Throughout my time here, I have had the chance to meet many new people and learn many new things. I've also had the chance to learn more about myself as well as my strengths and my weaknesses. I'm grateful for my time here at Nash County, and I would like to thank Ms. McGee for giving me the opportunity and challenging me more and more each year by allotting me greater responsibility and pushing me out of my comfort zone. It has been great working with Jacob Ferry these past 3 years, as well as Emily Moore this past year, and I would like to thank both of them for all their help and guidance throughout my time here. And I would like to thank all you commissioners and Stacy for all your help in all our meetings and teaching me new things throughout my 3 years here, so thank you.
All right.
So we got lucky for sure.
We did get lucky to get her 3 years, absolutely.
Well, we wish her well. She's got 1 more year of college, and we're hopeful. that she might come back to this area and maybe Nash County at some point, hopefully.
That would be wonderful. She hadn't given you that commitment yet?
Not quite yet.
Okay. You are persistent. You'll have it before she gets gone.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to item number 21, which is...
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a statement.
Please do, sir.
To Patsy and was it Kathy? Last commission meeting, I asked you a question about diversity. And I thought about it. I should not have done it. I should have, I do have a concern about diversity, but I should have addressed it to the county manager instead of you as a department. And so there's a song say, if I have wounded any soul today, if I have caused one foot to go astray, if I have walked in my own willful way, please forgive. So I'm asking both of you, forgive me for, I didn't mean any harm in doing it, but I was thinking when I said you, Kathy was just an intern, I was thinking about full-time employees at the time when I said it. But anyway, I asked for forgiveness, both of you.
Well, certainly no problem, and thank you very much for your kind words. Kathy has been a real asset to Nash County.
And the last thing I'll say is that I think you're doing an excellent job in getting these grants, and you're an expert at it. And I've known you for years when you were working for Upper Coastal Plain Council of Government when I first became a commissioner. And you were doing it there and getting grants. And since you've been with Nash County, you've been good at writing up proposals, because these grant proposals, you're in competition with other proposals. And you've done a excellent job. I want to thank you for what you've done.
Thank you, Mr. Belfield. We have known each other a long time, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Bellfield.
Mr. Chairman.
I appreciate you saying that. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. Kathy, what do you plan to do in the public health field? Do you have some goals in that?
Yes, I wanted to work with Foster Health Department for migrant families, and I'm helping them get access to the proper health care that they need.
Okay.
Great.
We probably have a spot. Thank you, Kathy.
Any other comments? Mr. Bellfield, I thank you again for those very kind words. We'll move on to item number 21, which is Nash County legislative goals. And Patsy, I must say that I have now caught up with what we're doing here and realize that it's what we've been working on for a couple of months. So please present it, and we'll certainly move to take action on it this morning.
Yes, sir.
I got a little bit confused on it, but you and Scott have got me squared away on it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners is currently involved in its 2022-2023 legislative goals process. Every 2 years in the months preceding the long session of the North Carolina General Assembly, the NCACC engages counties in this process, which enables county commissioners across the state to reach a consensus on legislative priorities and speak with one voice through the NCACC. To develop its goals, the NCACC is presently soliciting input from all 100 counties. Attached in Exhibit A is a list of possible legislative priorities from Nash County. All of the goals fall under the NCACC goal categories of agriculture and environment, health and human services, general government, justice and public safety, public education, and tax and finance. They were developed from the goals we prepared for the legislative dinner and comments that I heard on the tape afterward. However, this is a draft for you to change as needed. Following approval by the commissioners, we'll submit a resolution, which is also attached in Exhibit A to the NCACC, and we'll also submit the required legislative goals proposal form into their portal online for each priority by the September 12th goals submission deadline. They have moved things up a little bit at the NCACC. They're trying to get finished before Thanksgiving. So in order for them to do that, they've put a little bit more pressure on us to go ahead and get our goals in. So we're recommending the board adopt the attached resolution and approve its submission to the NCACC. And that includes Exhibit A, the goals, and if that needs to be amended, we want to hear how to do that.
All right, any questions or facts on that? You have the goals listed there, and I think they reflected where we were the last time we talked about it. She's added some things that we asked for, altered a few things, but any other alterations we need to make on this prior to moving it forward? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the legislative goals then.
Move approve.
Moved by Commissioner Bellfield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your work on that as well.
Thank
you.
Next item is Elm Street Drainage Project Ordinance Amendment, and I would call on Finance Director Donna Wood at this time to make this presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, the item I have before you is the Elm Street Drainage Project CDBG Disaster Relief Project Ordinance Amendment. The attached amendment is presented to adjust the Elm Street Drainage Project to create an expenditure account for Town of Nashville separate from the CDBG project expenses. There's no change in the dollar amount, it's just setting up the project ordinance to show the different categories of our expenditures, and they wanted to break out the Town of Nashville portion from the CDB portion. And this is based on the monitoring visit that Nash County received from the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency. They just didn't like the way that we had it set up in our original ordinance, and they wanted to break out the Town of Nashville portion.
All right. Questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. Questions on that motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Item 22 is approved. Item number 23, which is Urgent Repair Program Projects Ordinance.
Okay. So Nash County has been awarded $132,000 by the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency under the 2022 cycle through the North Carolina Housing Trust Fund and the Urgent Repair Program. The project also includes a local match of $5,000. As Patsy just talked about, the URP 22 provides deferred loans to low-income homeowners for crucial repairs that enable their residents to remain in their home. The program does not require that the entire dwelling be brought up to usual rehabilitation standards, but can be helpful in stabilizing deterioration. In some cases, no additional assistance is sought after the urgent repairs are completed, and it's budget ordinance or grant ordinance for $137,000.
Right. Questions of Ms. Wood? Entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Outlaw. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Item 23 is approved. Item number 24 is 9 budget amendments. Ms. Wood?
I do have 9 budget amendments before you, but I added to your desk a number 10 that I'd also like to include in my budget amendments. This was a last-minute amendment that our Department of Social Services received, so if you would also consider that as part of my budget amendments as well, I'll include that in my presentation.
Any cost to the county?
No, it's actually funding for the county that we would like to get out for our qualified
We'll let you
participants.
add it then, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. The first item that we have is with grants and intergovernmental. This budget amendments to budget general fund fund balance appropriation to transfer to the Urgent Repair Program 2022 for the $5,000 county match. The next item is with jail COVID confinement facility grant. Nash County Sheriff's Office was awarded $93,848 from the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Public Health Epidemiology Section, Communicable Disease Branch for a 2-year grant for the detection and mitigation of COVID-19 in the detention facility. The first year of the grant award is $75,126, and that's what this amendment is for. The next few items that I have are for reappropriations from our 2022 fund balance associated with some funds or some funding that we'd like to take place in 2023. The first item is unspent county capital. It's $1,392,958 based on the appropriations that the commissioners have put forth for different capital items. We'd like to move that forward to fiscal year 2023 to be able to spend those funds. The next item is within the Sheriff's Office for reappropriation of local program donations to the Sheriff's Office, $35,714. The next item is with Cooperative Extension, a reappropriation of the DeLeon Carter funds that were unspent in 2022. It's $2,081. The next reappropriation or unspent fiscal year 2022 aging services outside funding, including senior center program receipts, donations, Project Lifesaver donations, home delivered meals cost share, senior center operations cost share, the Health Insurance Information Program, and the Medicare Improvement Patient and Provider Act program. It's a reappropriation of $60,299. The next item is with Parks and Rec. It's sponsorship that was collected in fiscal year 2022 for the fall sports. It's $1,746. The next item is Department of Social Services, a reappropriation of special children adoption funds received from outside sources, $46,362. Number 9 is with Central Nash Water and Sewer. This budget amendments to budget for the replacement of a sewer flow meter located near Bel Air Estates. The county has been investigating issues since late May 2022 related to this meter, which is used by the city of Rocky Mount to bill the county. Upon most recent investigation, it's been determined that the meter has been damaged by a lightning strike, which has significantly increased the timeline for replacement. As a result, this amendment is to request a $20,000 fund balance appropriation from our Central Nash Water and Sewer Fund to cover the cost to purchase and install a replacement meter. And the final item is the number 10 item that I added with the Department of Social Services. This budget amendments to budget fiscal year 2023 funding for the low-income household water assistance program for qualifying households. It's $160,322, and no additional county funds are requested.
Any questions on either of these, Commissioner? Donna, would you mind going back to item number 3, which is your capital, county capital, and explain that a little bit more detail, how that works?
So at the end of fiscal year 2022, we brought forward some funding that the county received at the last minute, and we assigned, the commissioners approved capital funding for that. Some of those items were unable to be purchased due to our timeline. It was approved in June, and we didn't have the timeline to spend those funds.
Okay.
So this is appropriation.
I understand that. Thank you. No other question. Entertain a motion for approval of these 10 budget amendments.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Belfield. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Outlaw. Question on either of these or the motion itself? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by the like sign? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item number 25 is the board appointments. I'll call on Scott Rogers at this time to make this request.
Good afternoon. I have 5 items for your consideration for board appointments. The first one is the Nash County Board of Adjustments. We are currently in need of an alternate board member number 3 to be appointed for a 3-year term. We currently do not have a board member, or a Board of Adjustments member from Commissioner District 4. We have received 2 applications for the position, one from Ms. Amy Thompson and one from Mr. Charles Rose. We would request that you appoint one of these to the Board of Adjustments.
Are both of those residents of District 4?
No, sir. Ms. Thompson is a resident of District 7, and Mr. Rose is, in fact, a resident of District 4.
Okay. Other questions for board members? Pleasure to the board.
I recommend appointing Charles Rose to the Board of Adjustments.
I have a motion by Commissioner Leggett to
Second.
appoint the residents in District 4, and a second by Commissioner Combs. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, sir.
Next item is the Town of Bailey Planning Board and Board of Adjustments. The town received applications for this ETJ alternate. They received 2 applications and have reported to us that they would like to ask you to appoint Mr. Scott Hendricks as the ETJ alternate to the Town of Bailey Planning Board and Board of Adjustments.
Questions on this one? Pleasure to the board.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Leggett. Questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign. Motion stands approved. Item 3.
Next item is the ABC Board Chairperson. We've been notified by the ABC Board that they, at their regular scheduled meeting in June, voted for Mr. Gilliam to continue as the chair of the board for the 22-23 session, and are requesting your appointment of Mr. Gilliam as chairman.
Questions? Entertain a motion for approval.
Move for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wilkins. Questions on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carries as well. Brownsville Memorial Library.
Brownsville Memorial Library, we've been notified by the library board that they have a member that is no longer able to meet the requirements of their bylaws, Miss Elizabeth Overton, and for that purpose, the board has recommended that a past board member, Miss LaShonda Washington, be appointed to fill that vacant seat.
Okay. Any questions on that one?
I assume she was in agreement with that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Moved by Commissioner Wilkins, second by Commissioner Belfield. Any questions on that motion? All in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carries as well. Brownsville Memorial Library, we just did. Farmers Market Advisory Board.
Okay, and the last one is Farmers Market Advisory Board. The advisory board has historically had a member representing the county manager's office on that board, and the county staff is recommending that you appoint myself, Scott Rogers, to that position.
Did Scott Rogers agree?
Yes, sir.
Questions? All in favor? Entertain a motion for approval.
Move for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Leggett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Belfield. Question on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign. Motion carries.
That's all I have for board appointments.
Okay. Before we leave that one, the one where we had 2 applicants, you had one from District 7 as well, Ms. Thompson, that I don't know that I know her, but how do we handle that? Somebody will let her know that we appointed the person that lived in the district where the person was coming out of,
That's correct.
and her application will be held for future positions, and may want to find out if she's got something else she would like to do as well, if you would. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Item number 26 is elected NCACC voting delegate. Go ahead, Mr. Rogers.
Okay, so the 115th Annual Conference of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, as you well know, will be held in Cabarrus County in August of this year. and the board needs to elect a voting delegate to represent Nash County at the conference.
Madam Clerk, would you tell us at this time who you have signed up to go?
Yes, sir.
Or did I catch you off guard?
No, I have it.
Okay.
Thank you. All of the commissioners will be attending except for Commissioner Outlaw. He has a conflict, along with the county manager, the assistant county manager, and the clerk to the board.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right, we need to elect a delegate from 6 commissioners attending. Pleasure of the board.
I think it'd be a good idea for the chairman if you are going to be there and can.
I intend to be there, but certainly any of us could do it. I'd be glad to do it, whatever the pleasure of the board is. Other thoughts? Entertain a motion to,
That was a motion, I seconded.
all right, thank you for getting me out of the hole there. I have a motion on the floor and a second. Any discussions on the motion other than discussion I would have? Seeing none, all in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Chair,
Now you can say what you want to.
Almost too late, Mr. Belfield, but go ahead with your comment.
I was just going to ask who was voting on that. I didn't catch the name.
The motion was made by Commissioner Combs that I be the delegate.
Okay.
And seconded by
Okay,
whom, Ms. Leggett?
Outlaw.
Mr. Outlaw? Okay.
that's fine.
All right, all in favor of the motion, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by a like sign? Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, we would also need a voting delegate for the Legislative Goals Conference in Wake County in November as well. We can take care of that today if you'd like, or we can wait till a later date.
Do we have who is signed up for that? We hadn't even been told about it yet, have we?
Might better wait then.
Probably better wait to see who is actually going to be attending.
Thank you.
Good try.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is commissioner comments. Any commissioner have anything they want to say for the betterment of the board at this time?
Well, I got a couple of things I wanted to mention. I don't know if it'll be for the betterment of the board, but I don't think it'll be to the detriment of the board.
Well, we'll take either one, sir.
Have we heard anything from the governor on the resolution for no left turns? It's been over 2 months since we submitted the resolution to him and our legislators.
I'd call on staff to answer that. I, as chairman, have not heard anything, and I think we've made every effort to hear from him. But anybody else heard anything?
I have been in conversation with the governor's office, several staff members from the governor's office, and have been assured that it has been in his presence, but I have not had a response yet.
Okay. Well, that's the last time. I'm going to follow up on that. I assume we'll get a response at some point. It may be way beyond the point where it would make a difference. The second thing is, we did a thing last year on propane cannons with the Vick farming family, and Miss Vick, Charlotte Vick, extended an invitation to this board to visit and tour their facilities and have lunch. Now, I have not talked to Miss Vick recently, although I talked to her a month or so back, but we don't have but one more meeting this year where we have a mid-month, and I think that's September.
Correct.
And again, I don't know what the farming situation would be at that time, but I could talk to her. But what I'd like to recommend is that if Jonathan has the video and the presentation ready for the inside presentation on farm life versus city life, that maybe he could do that at our September mid-month?
We are actually planning on him doing that in your August meeting, your August 1st meeting.
Okay, well, think about this
Okay.
alternate recommendation.
Okay.
If we did that at the September as a mid-month, and then we orchestrated the meeting so the last item on the meeting might be that we would adjourn and then go tour the Vick farm and have lunch, and that might require us to have that meeting, instead of 1:30, have it earlier in the morning. That's just a thought. This is about a year now that they made that, extended that invitation, and I just want to give her some feedback on that.
Okay.
So it's something to think about.
Anything else, Mr. Outlaw?
Well, I'd like to know what the general thinking of the board would be on something like that. And if that's not something the board wishes to do, then I can let her know we have no interest in touring, and I can pursue other opportunities for September.
I certainly wouldn't think it'd be a good show for the board to say they didn't have any interest in attendance. I'd certainly be in favor of it, but I'd rather always
I
feel.
think it's very courteous of them generous of them to make that offer, and I've been out there, they've got a nice facility, and I think it'd be helpful to the members of the board, myself included, that are not as farm life literate as some of the members of the board.
Other comments from commissioners?
I think that would be a great idea to do that. I checked with them on the time, and I know that time specifically, September, October, is very busy. They're big in sweet potatoes, and they will be harvesting sweet potatoes at that time. It will be an educational experience for us to see. However, I don't want to put any additional burden on them for hosting us at that time.
With the consensus of this group, then I would reach out and have that discussion with Ms. Vick.
Anybody opposed to that? Seeing none, please do that, Mr. Outlaw.
Thank you, sir.
Good point.
Got one more thing I want to mention. I'm sure everybody takes the Nashville graphics, but if you don't, in the graphic on June the 23rd, there's a picture of a gentleman who was inspecting produce out in the field near Red Oak. That gentleman's name, this was in 1979, that would be Commissioner Fred Belfield. And so, sir, I saved this article for you. If you haven't seen it, see Mr. Belfield, and you'll see a much younger version of Mr. Belfield out actually kneeling down. I don't know if he can do that now. It's difficult for me to do, but I wanted you to have this, sir. Thought about it when I saw it.
Yeah, I have, I seen it, I subscribe to the graphic, and,
That's why you subscribe, right?
yeah,
Been waiting on that.
yeah.
Thank you, that's all
I
I
had
have.
forgotten all about it, that situation when they took that picture.
All right, anything else from a commissioner to bring before the board?
Real good.
Only thing I would bring to you is my normal housing report. Very busy week, very busy month in housing. We had 55 new permits for stick-built as well as manufactured homes during the month of June. They came in from 28 different builders, which I'm always fascinated looking at that count, at how many different builders we have working in Nash County. But the housing market, though it may eventually slow down, certainly has not, did not slow down in the month of June anyway. The other thing is, on behalf of Ms. Leggett and Mr. Arrington and myself, I will say that we had a good meeting at our last land development code. We'll be meeting tomorrow afternoon again at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We anticipate that should be our last meeting before we have the public meetings, and after tomorrow, we should be announcing those meetings, just to keep the board informed. And then, in other words, I think we're getting pretty near being able to put this behind us as a completed item. Appreciate the board's patience on that. But we think with a successful meeting tomorrow, we can move it to the next step, which is to have the public presentations out to the public in 3 locations throughout the county. The other thing I would say, in my discussions over the last week with the commissioners, we did discuss a commissioner travel policy that may be adopted or may be put together by our management staff, and I did not receive any opposition to moving forward with that, Stacy. So if you would move forward to that, I think a couple commissioners had some thoughts about it. And I'm going to ask them if they would just contact you directly to give them your idea, give you their ideas about developing that policy, and we'll look forward to getting it in the future sometime. And but everybody was certainly willing and in favor of moving forward with that travel policy for the Board of Commissioners.
Okay.
That's all I had, and I will turn it over to you at this time, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon. I have asked Stephanie Mitchell to join us. I received a letter from the North Carolina Association of Register of Deeds to inform Nash County that Stephanie Mitchell has successfully completed the certification program for Assistant Register of Deeds through the North Carolina Association of Registered Deeds. So I wanted to recognize her in front of the board today for her accomplishment and thank her for her service to Nash County and being interested in pursuing getting the Assistant Register of Deeds designation. There is a conference in Cherokee in September, the Register of Deeds conference, where if she's not able to attend, her certificate and pin will be sent to the county. So just wanted you all to know Stephanie's accomplishment.
Great job.
Congratulations.
She's also our most often seen walker during lunch hour as well.
Yeah,
Yes, she is.
yeah, I was just gonna mention that. She'll walk and take her lunch out and walk.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to update the board on some departmental responsibilities that we have identified for our Assistant County Manager, Scott Rogers. We'll have the following departments as direct reports to him moving forward. That'll be Emergency Services, Planning and Inspections, and the off-site departments located at the Agriculture Center, our Cooperative Extension Service, our Soil and Water District, and our Board of Elections. Since serving as the interim deputy director for our Human Services Department, Scott has continued to be a liaison for us with that department, and in particular with animal control, and he will continue to serve us in that capacity, as well as moving forward be our liaison for public safety, so with the sheriff's office and with our fire departments out in the county. So I wanted to update the board on those responsibilities for Mr. Rogers.
What does that leave you for do?
Nothing, not a thing.
Kid, would you send us that list?
I will do that.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm only
absolutely.
kidding with you. That's a lot of responsibilities, Mr. Rogers. Congratulations, sir.
And a reminder that we will hold a groundbreaking for the Nash County Pet Connection Center on Tuesday, July the 26th at 9 a.m. at the site located at 3600 Eastern Avenue. So if you can attend that, that would be wonderful. Put some golden shovels in your hands and advertise that event.
We have invited the governor to that location, to that event as well. So if he will accept our invitation, we can carry him up the street about 2,000 feet.
Right. Very good. If you'll recall, Dave Peterson with Trillium Health Resources shared information about the co-responder program. He followed up with our request for more information on how much that program's being utilized. I forwarded that information to the board. January through May, we had 16 instances of utilization, and since then have learned that in the month of June, we had 7 more. When Mr. Peterson reported those numbers, he indicated that the program was very underutilized, and Chairman Davis asked that I follow up with the sheriff and our Department of Social Services on that program. So we all did meet. We also met with staff from Crisis Intervention to discuss strategies for moving forward. They identified that their reporting does not give an accurate picture of the citizens, the number of citizens that those services are offered to. They reported that at times when the services are offered, the citizens will turn them down. We also learned that sometimes they'll follow through and even respond, and once they're on the scene, the citizens will decline their services. Both Crisis Intervention and the Sheriff's Office have agreed to work on capturing that data in their reporting moving forward so that we will at least have a better picture of how many times our staff are offering the services. And there's a plan of action moving forward for retraining both DSS and Sheriff's Office staff on the program. So just wanted to give the board an update on the co-responder program.
Thank you, ma'am.
So would that be something you would just give us some feedback at some frequency?
I can, yes. I can reach out to them and ask to start getting those numbers on a regular basis and continue to share that with you. Yep, absolutely. The next item I had was for the Land Use Plan Steering Committee. They met with the project consultant Stewart on June the 27th, and will meet again with staff tomorrow afternoon, July the 12th at 4 p.m., to finish reviewing the draft plan recommendations. The consultant is prepared to present the draft plan to the planning board on Monday, July the 18th at 5:30 p.m., and then the Board of Commissioners on Monday, August the 1st at your regular monthly meeting. After that, later in August, we will have a series of 3 public meetings that will be held at locations in the northern, central, and southern parts of the county to receive public input on the draft plan, and final adoption of the plan by the board is currently anticipated around early October. So I wanted to give the board an update on where we are on our timeline for the land use plan. The board also requested a timeline for launching the educational program for rural living in Nash County. Jonathan Edwards will be prepared to share a video, possibly now in your September, second meeting in September. We'll continue to discuss that and plan that. But following the initial launch of the video, it will be placed on the county website and will be played on the PEG channel. And then our website will have a page dedicated to resources related to rural living moving forward for our citizens. And just one more item here, there will be a Carter signage dedication at the Nash County Miracle Park at Cooper's on Saturday, July the 30th at 10 a.m. If you could join us at Miracle Park at Cooper's for that signage dedication. And I just said that that was my last item, but it's not. I've been sent some text messages to please mention about our United Way car wash and yard sale. That will be this Saturday, July the 16th. The yard sale is from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. I believe in this parking lot, the administration parking lot, and there will be a car wash from 9 a.m. to noon over in the senior center parking lot. So if you can come out and support our United Way fundraisers, that would be much appreciated. And that's all I have.
Understand they need some more car washers. Just information for the board.
Okay.
Any questions of the manager's report? Seeing none, anything else board would like to say in open session at this time? If not, I'd entertain a closed session. Closed session is called for naming of county property concerning our hospital, economic development, and matters of attorney-client privilege and employee qualifications. I entertain a motion to go into closed session at this time. Moved by Commissioner Wilkins. There a second? Second by Commissioner Combs. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of that motion, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed by a like sign? We stand recessed to closed session. We will come back out after closed session. I do believe there may be 1 or 2